Why we don't understand what we hear. Right away, someone asks you a question. You look directly at them and immediately say, "What?" But then before they have a chance to repeat themselves, something strange happens. The sentence suddenly makes sense. You answer the question as if you heard it perfectly the first time, because you probably did. The sound reached your ears. The words entered your brain. Nothing was missing. And yet, for one brief moment, it felt as though the other person had spoken in a language you had never heard before. This happens in kitchens, offices, classrooms, grocery stores, and quiet conversations between two people standing only a few feet apart. It happens so often that most of us barely notice it. We assume we were distracted. We blame the other person for mumbling, or we start wondering whether our hearing is getting worse. But hearing words and understanding words are not the same process, and the small delay between them reveals something fascinating about how your mind actually experiences reality. Your ears do not deliver finished sentences. They deliver vibration. A continuous, messy stream of changing sound. There are no clean spaces between spoken words. When someone says, "What are you doing later?" the sounds do not arrive as separate little packages labeled "What are you doing?" and "later." They blend together. Your brain has to divide that stream into pieces, identify the sounds, compare them with words stored in memory, determine what those words mean, and then connect the entire sentence to the situation around you. And it has to do all of that almost instantly. Most of the time it happens so smoothly that you never feel the machinery working. You only notice it when the machinery needs an extra second. That is often the moment when you say, "What?" Not because no sound arrived, but because meaning had not arrived yet. Think about what happens when somebody suddenly speaks to you while you're reading, scrolling through your phone, watching television, or thinking about something completely unrelated. Their voice enters the room, but your attention is still somewhere else. The first few sounds reach you before your brain has fully switched tasks. So the sentence is briefly held in a kind of mental waiting room. You react before you understand. What? Then your attention catches up. Your brain replays the sound it has just stored, processes it again, and suddenly the sentence becomes clear. This is why you can answer before the other person repeats themselves. The words were not gone, they were waiting. And this delay becomes more noticeable when the beginning of the sentence matters. Imagine someone suddenly asks, "Did Sarah leave the keys on the table?" You may clearly hear "leave the keys on the table," but miss the first part because your attention had not shifted yet. Now your brain has several possibilities. Did Sarah leave the keys? Did someone move the keys? Are they asking whether you saw the keys? The final words are clear, but the meaning of the sentence depends on what came first. So your brain pauses. Instead of waiting quietly like a patient machine, it makes your mouth say, "Huh?" Human conversation would apparently collapse if we were required to think before making noises. But attention's of only part of the story. Your brain does not passively receive speech. It predicts it. Every conversation creates expectations about what the other person is likely to say next. If someone walks into the kitchen holding an empty cup and asks, "Do we have any?" your brain is already preparing words like coffee, milk, or water. It is not waiting for the sentence to finish. It is guessing ahead. Usually this makes speech faster and easier to understand, but when the words do not match the prediction, your brain has to correct itself. Imagine you're getting ready to leave the house and someone says, "Don't forget to feed the plant." You expect a dog or cat. For a fraction of a second, your brain may resist the word plant because it does not fit the sentence that it had already started constructing. You heard the correct word, but your prediction arrived first. This is one reason unfamiliar names, unexpected phrases, and sudden changes of subject often make us pause. The sound is clear. The problem is that it does not fit the story your brain thought it was hearing, and your brain loves stories. It uses context to fill in missing information constantly. In a noisy restaurant, you do not hear every part of every word. Plates crash, people laugh, music plays in the background, some speech sounds are covered completely. But you still understand the conversation, because your brain reconstructs what was probably said. It uses the topic, the speaker's face, the rhythm of the sentence, and the words that came before. You do not experience the gaps. You experience a complete sentence. This is you. Why it happens. More to some people. But you may have noticed that this does not happen equally to everyone. Some people seem to catch every sentence immediately, even in a crowded room. Others constantly ask people to repeat themselves, especially when they are focused on something else. This does not necessarily mean one person has a better brain. It may simply mean their attention works differently. Some minds keep a wide window open to the environment. Even while reading or working, they continue noticing footsteps, voices, doors opening, and movement around them. Other minds narrow that window. When they focus, everything outside the current task becomes quieter. A person may speak directly beside them, and the voice reaches their ears, but it does not immediately become important enough to interrupt what they are doing. This kind of deep focus can be useful. It helps people disappear into books, games, creative work, or difficult problems. But it also means that suddenly switching into a conversation may take an extra moment. The first few words arrive while the brain is still closing one mental room and entering another, and some situations make that transition even slower. Being hungry, sleeping poorly, worrying about something, or spending hours switching between messages, videos, and notifications can all leave attention feeling fragmented. Your ears may be functioning perfectly while your mind is simply struggling to decide which sound deserves priority. There is a simple way to notice what may be happening. The next time you're about to say, "What?" wait for just 1 second. Do not force yourself to guess. Do not panic. Just leave a small pause. Sometimes a sentence will appear on its own, as though someone quietly turned on the subtitles inside your head. If that happens, the problem was probably not that the sound failed to reach you. Your brain simply needed more processing time. You can also notice when it happens most. Is it mainly while looking at your phone? When several people are talking? At the end of a long day? With unfamiliar voices? Or only when someone begins speaking without first getting your attention? These patterns matter because they reveal whether the difficulty is connected more closely to attention, context, fatigue, or the sound itself. And there are small ways to make conversation easier. Turn toward the speaker. Lower background noise when possible. Pause what you are doing instead of trying to listen, and continue the task at the same time. And rather than asking someone to repeat the entire sentence, ask for the specific part you missed. Who left the keys? Did you say today or tomorrow? That gives your brain the missing piece without forcing both people to restart the whole conversation. Because sometimes better listening is not about trying harder. It is about giving the brain a clear signal and enough time to finish what it has already started.